Hello, welcome to Learn, Do, Become Radio. I'm April Perry, and here at Learn, Do, Become, we help people who are overwhelmed by the details of life to create simple systems so they can do what matters most. And today we're diving into values-centered productivity. I'm so excited about this episode. I've worked really hard preparing what I'm about to share with you, and my heart's in this, and I can't wait. Before I get started, though, with the podcast, I wanted to share a few fun stories from our community members. I love to highlight the people who are taking action and who are getting organized and who are creating that peace of mind. And I have a few here in front of me that I'm going to just read out, and I hope that it will give you a little lift. You can also come to the show notes to be able to see and read and review everything we talk about in the podcast today. So first, I just want to highlight Kathleen. She has this photo of a bunch of boxes and just stuff. And then she says, Step Win. Now, STEP is our program, Steps to Everyday Productivity. That's where we teach you how to build a command central. So then she says, Step Win, all those boxes and bags of old mail I went through last week, I just cashed in over $200 in Costco rewards checks dated from 2020 and 2021. And this one was sent in 2024. So it was so fun that she was able to get these awesome rewards. And honestly, we are seeing literally every day people finding money in their piles. So if you're thinking, I want to get organized, but I don't know if it's worth it. I'm pretty sure you're going to find it's either cash or gift cards or something awesome in those piles. Okay, next is Stacy. She says, here's a win I believe we all have in common. I'm more productive simply because I'm now thinking in terms of 2-minute items, microbursts, action lists, etc. I take my mom to the post office about once a month. I used to just sit in the car and play games on my phone or text with a friend. Now I'm deleting and unsubscribing to emails. I find several 2-minute items to accomplish each day and find things that can be done in 10 minutes, but only because I'm looking. My brain is beginning to think differently. I bet yours is too. Yay, us. That was so cute. Next is from Grandma, and she says, I've got a major win. The very first day I joined the group, I got very excited and motivated and started building my command central. The very next day, it was all done, and I've kept up with removing every piece of paper that was on my desk from taking notes and jotting down little bits of information. The best news is that I've been able to keep it up ever since. After I get done with a note, I put it right away in its appropriate place in my command center, and it's so easy to maintain now. I come into the room each morning and see a clear desk. I'm so amazed. I can't even begin to tell you what this means to me. It's something I've only ever dreamed about before. Then she has a little happy face and a heart. Love it. So exciting. And then this last one is from Janan, and it says, huge win for me today. My husband and I went over our calendars together. In 36 years of marriage, this has, all caps, never happened before. We do a regular Saturday morning spend time with each other appointment, which is part of what gave me the idea. That and Saturdays feel like a good time to do my weekly review. It just jumped to a new level today. Me and my paper week at a glance that I've used since college, and him with his iPad color-coded fanciness, making sure we each had various activities on our calendars. We'll definitely bring to every Saturday morning from here on. Thanks, April. When you have talked about you and Eric having a weekly time that you met to do, I never imagined my husband doing with me. Only dreamed of. Wow. So good. Eric and I do ours on Friday mornings at 10:30. It's like standing calendar. We sit, we plan the next 10 days, go through our agendas. It's so good. It just helps us kind of get ahead of the week so we're not surprising each other. But anyway, I love this. So thank you to all of those. And I'm just working really diligently to start sharing more of the testimonials coming in because we have so many. I have almost 200 just in my folder in my email, and then we have so many more. Anyway, it's exciting because I love to celebrate you and what you're doing, and I know that you encourage each other. So, okay, thank you so much. Let's go ahead now and dive into today's Heart to Heart podcast. Well, we often focus on how to get organized, of course, here at Learn to Become. For the past few months, I've been thinking about the broader topic of why we want to get organized and how to identify the best productivity philosophy. And the reason this matters is because We often get caught up in doing things, like a lot of things, that have immediate payoffs. And while I can definitely help you to get your whole checklist done and have a totally organized life, we won't actually enjoy that life unless it's centered on what really matters to us. And today I'm going to share my best ideas with the hope that you will come to the comments section at the bottom of the show notes. That's at learndobecome.com/episode 274. And I want you to share your wisdom with me as well. I don't have all the answers, but I'm starting the conversation here. So I admit that the title of this episode is kind of long. It's Finding More Joy in the Somewhat Complicated World of Values-Centered Productivity. I'll break it down a bit to clarify what I mean. First, what is values-centered productivity? I've been working online in the productivity space for more than 15 years, and it's sometimes been tricky to explain what exactly I do. I love to help people to get organized with their simple systems in our Steps to Everyday Productivity program, and Eric and I enjoy supporting our Arise community so they can wake up excited and go to bed content by focusing on the core areas of a well-architected life. And we offer lots of free bite-sized resources throughout our digital platforms here on the podcast and YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and all that, because we want to lift and encourage our community. But sometimes when I'm talking about cleaning the house, creating a command central, getting organized, being more productive, etc., I worry that people will think my goal is for all of us to just do more. And that's actually not my intention at all. What I really want is for all of us to have the energy to do what matters most. We want to be productive according to our values. So if I were to attempt to write an official definition for values-centered productivity, I would say this. Values-centered productivity means we create lives of purpose by acting in alignment with our true values, even if the required effort is not always easy, fun, or instantly rewarding. So why is this somewhat complicated? It's because most of the advice that I have received and currently receive doesn't define success that way or support that objective I've outlined. So I want to read my definition again, and then I'm going to share what AI said. Okay, so my definition of value-centered productivity is that we create lives of purpose by acting in alignment with our true values, even if the required effort is not always easy, fun, or instantly rewarding. An AI search says, values-centered productivity is the idea that aligning your personal values with your work can lead to increased productivity and engagement. This can happen when you find a job or career that matches your values, which can help you feel more motivated, focused, and satisfied. Now, I'm all for finding a career that matches my values, and gratefully, I believe I have done that. I love being here. But what brings motivation, focus, and satisfaction for the many, many, many people out there who are raising children, caring for aging parents, and making sacrifices for people, even when it hinders their professional work and personal time? Or take this piece of advice I recently received from a well-respected productivity expert who said, "Don't do anything you don't enjoy or that doesn't make you money." Now, perhaps that advice was only intended to reside within a very narrow frame of running a business. And I run a business, and I agree that we have to be extremely wise with how we allot our time. But it's rare that anyone even talks about how hard it can be when a large part of your life consists of really important things that you don't necessarily enjoy, and that certainly won't make you money. Like disciplining children, or mending difficult relationships, managing healthcare for a loved one, managing finances, being there for someone who is struggling with their mental health, taking out the trash, putting energy into someone or something you believe in without having a clue if your efforts will pay off long term, and the thousands of other important needs inherent in families and relationships. There seems to be this idea that the more intelligent and skilled we become, the more these kinds of activities should be hired out or delegated. Some of them, with careful thought, definitely can be. But I believe that the most meaningful, precious personal connections that are core to the human experience are often neglected because they are not seen as productive. I want to share a quick note on what values-centered productivity is not. It doesn't mean we abandon all of our responsibilities and totally disregard the values of being effective or efficient. It doesn't mean we give up everything we love and everything that makes us money. And it doesn't mean we let ourselves be tossed by the waves of life, taking on anything that feels important at the time, but procrastinating those things that will bring us a balanced life. Now, this is a bit nuanced, but stick with me because I think understanding and acting on this principle will make a bigger impact than we might imagine. There is a fine line between doing what needs to be done and doing more because it feeds our ego or feels more fun. I personally have had to work really hard to temper myself over the years because if I let myself, I could be a workaholic in a nanosecond. Our egos love to be fed, mine included. But if I devoted my life to feeding my ego, I would end up with a shallow existence that would never have the power to make me happy. I once heard someone comment that the loudest voices on the internet belong to people with anxiety disorders who are wired for productivity. And that comment hit a little too close to home because I have struggled with anxiety and I am wired for productivity. But as I serve online, I want to help create a world where we can get off that treadmill and create lives we can't wait to wake up and live. Not because every day is necessarily fun, but because we are living in alignment with the values that truly matter to us. So why does it matter if we find more joy in values-centered productivity? I'm not here to make someone feel joy if they don't want it, but I found that values-centered productivity can often lead to feelings of being the martyr, and I'd like to change that. Here at Learn, Do, Become, we serve an amazing community of compassionate, thoughtful, conscientious individuals. We call ourselves becomers, who lovingly keep their families and communities running, but they often don't see how incredible they are and therefore don't believe in themselves as I wish they would. And I believe that finding joy in values-centered productivity is critical for the overall well-being of this group of becomers and for anyone in the world. I also believe that when we find the joy, it will be so much easier to get out of the overwhelm because we'll see our lives through a clearer lens. So if you're ready to dive into some ways to find more joy, I've put together 8 and I'll go through them. And then if I miss anything or if you have something to add or you have an experience that you think, oh, I got to share this, please come and share it because I've been thinking so much about this and it matters so much to me. And I would love to have this be a conversation. So idea number 1, create alignment. We need to understand our identity, who we truly are, and we need to understand what we actually believe is the purpose of life. So for me, this involves connecting with my higher power and developing confidence as I make choices each day that feel right. If I don't have this kind of an anchor or alignment in my life, it is way too easy to get down on myself. If I don't know who I am and what I believe and why I am making choices the way I am, then when I see a friend or a peer doing something fancy or fabulous, I compare myself. So in my head, it might sound like, well, here I am doing all this mundane work while everyone else is out there doing amazing things. But when I'm in alignment, I can cheer on my friends for the good they're doing while feeling completely content with the good I am doing. And there's no need to compare. Idea number 2, use discernment. In an attempt to serve, love, and lift, we can exhaust ourselves. You have been there, no doubt. Discernment is essential because we can't be all things to all people, but we can be wise as we decide how to spend our time, energy, and resources. Today, for example, a person in my life clearly needed love, way more than I had the capacity to give. And my heart sank, wondering if I should just drop everything in an attempt to fill that need. But after talking with Eric about it and then checking in with that alignment I'm trying to maintain, I decided a few minutes of love would be appropriate, and then I can follow up in the future if it makes sense to do so. Idea number 3. Understand that it is normal and courageous to do non-appealing work for the sake of the future. The older I get and the more I actually see what's going on behind the scenes, especially in the media, the more I have to remind myself that we rarely see the whole picture. And everything we do see is portrayed in a way that satisfies the motivations of the person portraying it. Everyone's got a motive. Steady, mundane, frustrating, repetitive work doesn't make headlines. But a key characteristic of a well-architected life is that we go forward with faith in worthwhile endeavors. One day I wrote in my journal how blah my life was feeling. Most of my activities weren't anywhere close to fun. I was helping a child study for a big test. I was listening to a worried friend process some hard things, helping with a fundraiser for a local organization, and hosting an event for a group I didn't even know. But all of these activities were in alignment with my values. I made the decisions carefully, and I knew those activities were going to require a lot of energy. But when I sat down and journaled through my emotions, I realized the problem wasn't that I had made poor choices. The problem was that I forgot how normal and courageous it is to do non-appealing work without immediate payoffs for the sake of the future. And just as a little side note, this has been a huge aha for me, because for the last 15 years that I've been working online and I've been going to conferences and learning and seeing all these things I should be doing, I've made a very conscious effort to prioritize my health and my marriage and my family so that I wasn't spreading myself too thin or getting all caught up in everything. And often I felt like my desire to care for my family was really just like slowing me down professionally. And I felt like, not like it was a weakness because I knew I was doing the right things. But whenever I would like meet other people, I kind of felt like, oh, I'm not maybe as brave as they are, or I'm not as hardworking, or maybe I should be working double time. I don't know. I just was like kind of down on myself. But now I look back, I'm like, no, that was my biggest strength, that I didn't get pulled away from the things that really matter in order to just like try to go crazy in our business or try to spread myself way too thin. So it's been super helpful. I just found the problem wasn't what I was doing. The problem is the way I was looking at it. So maybe you think about your own life and see if you can find something that makes sense for you that way. All right, idea number 4. See the list as a flexible guide. I love to talk about creating our day. We have a whole podcast on it. And I think it's fun to map out my appointments and routines, project time, etc. So my day has a general structure that I can follow. It takes like 5 minutes. It's so great. I do it just about every day. And this works well most days. And you can come to the show notes page. I'll link to our Create Your Day resources. However, what happens when we make a list and we set appointments and then we're interrupted by a person or a value that matters more? I have spent many hours feeling sorry for myself and or resenting people for ruining my plans. But I generally don't do that anymore because I see the list as a guide. If all goes as anticipated, that's great. But if a higher value need arises, we simply adjust the list. It's no big deal. And if you're thinking, well, I can't just leave my job every time a person needs me, you're absolutely right. But let's go back to the definition of the value that matters more. Sometimes doing your job, showing up, fulfilling a commitment, getting that done is the most important thing. So we just need to be able to make that assessment with wisdom. The problems for me, though, don't come in situations like that. The problem comes when I see my list as my boss and I see people as interruptions. And maybe just pause for a second and just check in with yourself. Do you do that? Do you see your list as your boss and the people as interruptions? Because if you do, I just encourage you to shift from that perspective, because the more I've shifted from that, the happier and the more connected to others I have become. For example, I was working on a project and I was excited about it, and it truly did need to get done. But one of my children had something hard happen, and it opened a lot of conversations that took quite a bit of time, like over multiple days. Now, Achiever April would have thought, now I'm behind because I took time for my family. Can you kind of sense that resentment or sadness there, the blame? But Becomer April, focused on a values-centered approach, thought there's some wiggle room here, and shifting my attention to my child is in line with my values right now. Idea number 5, build buffer into our lives as much as possible. We get to choose if we pack our schedules or not. And to be honest, I used to pack my schedule because it felt good to always be moving and progressing and engaging, serving and checking things off. I didn't just go through my days, I conquered my days. I even remember having my monthly paper planner when I was in high school, and I would write every little thing on it that I needed to do. And then I would kind of look at it with pride, like, oh, look at me. Look at all the stuff I'm doing. And I would show it to my friends and be like, oh, look at this. This is why I'm so stressed. I'm just doing so much stuff. But it was like this badge of honor. Anyway, now I focus on creating a life that is as asynchronous as possible. Because when my schedule is tight, relationships, spontaneity, and the ability to follow impressions from my higher power just fall by the wayside. But if I have plenty of margin scattered throughout the week, and I'm doing things asynchronously, so I don't have a ton of meetings and events and classes, I try to make it more like, if you notice here at Learn, Do, Become, it's more podcasts and videos and emails and texts and things like that, and social media, so I can jump in when it makes sense, but I can have that flexibility and margin. And I recognize not every job can do that the way I do it, but a lot of jobs can, or at least part of the job can. By protecting my calendar and having plenty of white space, I'm more able to respond to the needs that arise, and I still get my work done, but I use that flexibility to truly live according to my values. Idea number 6 is adjust with wisdom and creativity. I don't get everything right the first time. I don't get most things right the first time. But each Sunday as I create my week, I reflect on the prior week and identify ways I can improve things moving forward. So it's literally just I sit down to make an assessment. I look at how I created my week the prior week, and then I look at what I did and see, okay, did it turn out the way I'd hoped? What could I improve? What could I change? What do I want to try this week? And sometimes I realize I need more library time because my household has felt too busy and I'm not able to sit and focus. Or sometimes I need to block out time to spend with my family because we've just been running parallel to one another. So like our son, Ethan, he went and did grocery shopping for me tonight, and he goes and gets all the groceries and brings them home and helps me put them away. It's so awesome. And I was talking to him. I'm like, oh, I miss you. I want to see you. And so we're scheduling time. Tomorrow morning, he's going to come walking with me and Eric and Sunny, and we're just going to have more time together because otherwise he gets busy with work, we get busy with stuff, and then, we just maybe see each other like Sundays for dinner. And that's also something we block out, which has been great. But I don't want to just run parallel to the people who matter most. And sometimes I need to delegate, simplify, restructure, or eliminate, etc. But creativity really is key here. And I'll just share one more quick example. I usually take our dog Sunny to her vet appointments, but on one unpredictably busy day, I realized our 17-year-old could do this just as well as I could. His name's Spencer. He's awesome. He likes driving and he loves Sunny. And so I said, hey, could you take her to the vet? And I just gave him the stuff he needed and explained what he needed to do. So he did. He took her. And on the way home, he's like, can I take her through the Starbucks drive-thru and get her a puppuccino? Because they have this little cup of whipped cream they'll give free to your dog. And so he took these little pictures of her with the whipped cream, and I think it got all over the backseat of the car. That was okay. It was really cute. But that enabled me to preserve my energy And then I could pour some of that back into him later. But just thinking creatively can help save some of our time and energy and involve other people and help us so that we don't feel so overwhelmed. That adjusting makes a big difference. Idea number 7, prioritize self-care in the midst. This could be an entirely separate podcast, but I think you get the point. When we take care of our own needs for sleep, nutrition, exercise, spiritual nurturing, fun, social time, downtime, etc., and when we make time to clean our homes and do laundry and pay attention to our finances and manage all the stuff of our lives, we feel energized and able to give back. And idea number 8 is live an autotelic life. I love the word autotelic. It essentially means that the activity has a purpose in and not apart from itself. I'll just give some examples. If exercise is autotelic, then it means I'm enjoying the process, even if I don't get the big muscles I was hoping for. If prayer is autotelic, I enjoy the peace I feel during prayer, even if the answers don't come as I expected. If parenting is autotelic, it means I love the closeness and interactions, even if my children decide to live differently than I would recommend. So when we do this, there is less pressure on the outcomes and more joy in that journey, and no time is a waste because it was joyful and purposeful along the way. So a few words in closing. As we're moving forward with getting organized and being productive here at Learn, Do, Become, I genuinely hope that we will approach these goals with our values at the center. That is what will get us to the point where we wake up excited and go to bed content. It isn't about the checkboxes, it's about the relationships and the becoming. We've all been the recipients of grace and love. Neighbors watched our children at a moment's notice when I started to miscarry. My mom woke up and talked with me well after midnight when I came home from my work at Disneyland. This was back when I was like 18. I was just crying because a coworker was unkind to me. And I went in her room and she immediately just woke up and was there to hold me and hug me and talk me through it. When I was growing up, my dad spent many Saturday nights driving me and my teenage friends to church dances. We lived in Southern California and there were like dances every weekend, but it was maybe 45 minutes to get to them. And so he would drive us, and often he would just wait in the car until we were finished. So we'd get there like at 9:30 or 10, and he'd just kind of sit there and wait till 11:30 for us. This was before smartphones, so he didn't even have anything, maybe a book. I don't know. He'd just sit and wait for us. My siblings answer my phone calls, and they take time to just talk when I'm out walking Sunny. My children and husband pause what they're doing to come snuggle with me or help me with random needs around the house. And one frustrating morning when I wasn't feeling well, this was probably, 6 months ago, Eric spent several hours helping me work through my challenges. And I said, "I'm sorry to be taking your whole day." His response surprised and touched me. And this response has just stayed in my mind for months. He said, "You're my wife. You are my day." When our lives come to a close, it's unlikely that anyone will care about our physical appearances, income, or social and political power. But what they will remember is that we cared about them. So I hope that we can build lives that are full of compassion and connection. I hope we can identify our values and make the tough decisions to live in alignment with them. Some parts of our lives will feel fantastic and social media worthy, but most of our moments will be offline, private, and too personal to share. But when we truly focus on value-centered productivity, there will be so much joy. I hope that today's episode was helpful for you. If you have any additional ideas or thoughts that you want to respectfully share, please come to learndobecome.com/episode 274 and share in the comments what you might be thinking. We also have a written version of the podcast. And we have links to our Steps to Everyday Productivity program, to our Arise membership, which is such a party where we actually do go live with a monthly workshop. So fun. And we'll have links to the Create Your Day resource that I talked about. I'm so grateful to be able to be here with you. I love what's happening in our communities. I get choked up every time I go on social media and I just sit and I'm watching what's happening and what people are saying and how they're encouraging each other. I love to help people not only to get out of overwhelm in our STEP program, but also be able to architect our lives together. It means so much to be part of this community. So I'm sending my love and hope you have an amazing day. And we'll see you soon at learndobecome.com.